Eriksson. So here we are in Mallorca, and we're at the winery here, Oliver Moragues. And we're here to meet with the winemaker Carlos Cabeza Oliver. And we're here to find out about how they use their vineyards to create their style of wines, where they have the cool breeze from the mountains and a nice view to the flatlands. Let's meet Carlos and hear more about their style of wine. If you were to explain for somebody that's never ever tried your wine, what would you say about your style of wines?
When you taste wines from a winery, normally you realize the style of the winemaker. But I try always, when I taste wines, when I'm doing the wine production, to get wines which are elegant. This is what obsesses me. I don't care if the wines are stronger, I mean with a lot of body because the grape is international, or it's lighter because the grape is a Cayet, for example. This is not important if the wine is much alcohol, much body, less body. The most important thing in a wine is that the wine is elegant and expresses the grape. And this is what obsesses me, elegancy and the fruit of the grape, which actually is the reason why you are doing this liquid. And you want to show the people the grape, actually.
Tell me the story of this fantastic place.
My family bought the house in 1511. It's one of the oldest Mallorcan houses, which has been in the same family, Oliver Moragues, for the last centuries.
It has a fantastic location, I think, on the island.
I would say Mallorca has 3 regions, and we are Serra de Tramuntana, Reguer in the center, and we are on the south part, which is a little bit higher, 265 meters high, and we are on a hill a little bit. And it's in the region Pla Llevant, which has always been a region for wine.
How did you get interested in wine from the very beginning?
In my case, it was not a decision. I was born here. Since I was a small kid, I was surrounded by vineyards, grapes. I was participating in the wine harvestings every September and October. It was always there. Definitely you have to take the decision at some point, but in my situation it was something that was always there, and it happened very natural.
What was so interesting about the wine? Was it the harvesting, or was it what came out of the bottle, or that you wanted to take care of your heritage, or what was the trigger for you?
You have to love it, because otherwise if you don't love it, you won't do nice wines. Every part of the wine process it's amazing. Tasting all the grapes, it's fantastic. Tasting the grapes when they are developing themselves, it's also very, very interesting. But also during the fermentation, it's like being in a circus, and lots of things are happening, and you are discovering how the grapes you tasted before are developing, and getting into wines. This complete mix between enjoying, discovering, and controlling, and being stressed that everything goes to a perfect end. You have not only to like wine, but you have to be a guy who loves the country and the soil.
What kind of grapes can you find on the different vineyards that you have here?
The different plots we have, you find a lot of Mallorcan grapes. We have, for white, for example, we have Prensal Blanc, Giro Ros. We also have, for the red, Cayet, Manto Negro, Gorgollasa, Escursac, and also some other international, like Cabernet and Shiraz. The Cayet goes for El Galgo, which is the typical grape for this region of the island, Esplat. Manto Negro goes for another wine, and Manto Negro was the grape which was mostly planted here during the last centuries. Prensal Blanc, which is the most planted on the island, and Giro Ros, which is a fantastic grape producing outstanding wines.
So Carlos, if you were to explain the different bottles that we have in front of you here.
Well, on our left we have the black label, which is the selection of the Homme. We only produce this wine some years. Then we have the Homme 500, which is international and Mallorcan grapes with Cayet Manto Negro, also Cabernet Shiraz. Full body wine with a structure and a lot of potential. It's complicated, this wine, because I try to make the perfect blend between the softness and elegancy of the Mallorcan grapes with the structure and potential of the international grapes in a wine which represents what has been Mallorca for the last 40 years. Then I think the third one would be the Prensal Blanc, which is the most typical Mallorcan grape for whites. And Prensal Blanc is, if I had to define this grape for anyone that has never tasted it, it's very expressive in the nose, tropical aromas, bananas, and in the mouth it's very, very creamy and fresh. Not a complicated wine, not a wine with a lot of potential, but very representative of what Mallorca is. The fourth wine, La Faula, it's mostly Manto Negro with Merlot, but I would say it's mostly 80% Manto Negro, which is the most typical Mallorcan grape for reds on the island. And Manto Negro is the grape that was always planted on this finca, mostly. The fifth would be El Galgo, which is a Cayet. Cayet is the most typical grape for this region of the island in the southeast. And Cayet would be the style of a Pinot Noir, a wine where you don't look for structure, tannins and color. It's a wine where you look for is softness, elegancy and delicacy. This is a Cayet. And the last one is Giro Ros. Giro Ros is my favorite white grape. It's a white grape with a lot of potential, not very expressive like Prensal Blanc in the nose, but in the mouth it's like narrow. It goes very straight, electric, and with a high acidity and full body mouth. A wine with a lot of potential, and I'm fascinated with this wine, the Giro Ros.
As you know, there is a big discussions among winemakers today about the idea of sustainability and biodynamic wines or ecological wines. And there's also big discussions about what is a natural wine and what is traditional wines. What's your opinion on that?
We are one of the first organic producers on the island. We started early in the 2000s. Being organic, it's not a matter of a decision that you take, it's an obligation, because it's making wines organic means that you're not using pesticides and fungicides for your vineyards. Me as winemaker, as drinker and as a taster and wine grower, I look for elegance, quality and respectability with environment. I will try to find in the wine what the winemaker tried to achieve. I don't judge the wines if they are being produced one way or another. I judge the wines for its quality and how they taste and how they smell.
So Carlos, yeah, you got a fantastic range of wines now here. But if we look a bit into the future, the bottle standing over here, your next bottle, what would that be?
What excites me next would be always the undiscovered or the unknown. And the unknown in our case, well, we know it because we have the grape, but it's something that we have never ended up bottling. This is for me very important. When I told you before, we are not. I don't consider that we are winery. We are much more like a family living in an ancient house producing wine. I mean, every decision we make, deciding what we plant, where, has implications for the next generations. And as I receive some legacy, I have to give it back, give it forward to the next ones. But that the wines that will be drunk in 50 years in this place will be the same grapes that were drunk 500 years in this place, in this village of Algaida, in this region. This is what makes me walk every day and makes me think that everything that I'm doing every day has a sense.
If you were to give an advice to a young person that wants to become a winemaker like yourself, what would you say?
To listen to the old generation, because they have a lot of experience and they have done all the mistakes you can have before you. So if you follow them, their advice, you will save a lot of time.